He gaslit me for years. Until I found out the truth, for years, I believed his words. I believed every lie, every little reassurance, every time he told me that I was overreacting or imagining things. It started so subtly that I didn't even realize what was happening. The little comments, the tiny doubts planted in my mind, the constant questioning of my own perceptions. It didn't feel like manipulation at first. It felt like care. It felt like love. But the truth was, I was living in a fog, and it took me years to realize it. I remember the first time it happened. I had asked him about something that was bothering me, something that seemed like a simple misunderstanding. Instead of addressing it, he brushed it off. "You're being too sensitive," he said. "That never happened. You're just remembering it wrong." I let it go, because in that moment, his words seemed to make sense. But then it happened again. And again, slowly, I began to doubt myself. The things I was sure of, things that I knew were true, he would twist into something else. He would tell me I was paranoid or insecure. I started second-guessing my own memory, my emotions, and my thoughts. At first, I thought I was just being too hard on myself. After all, who would do that to someone they love? But the gaslighting didn't stop. It became more intense, more frequent. I started feeling like I was going crazy. I didn't trust myself anymore. I relied on him for validation, even for the most basic things. What did I want for dinner? What was my opinion on a particular situation? His answers were always better than mine, or at least, that's what I thought. Slowly, my sense of self was eroding. I didn't know where I ended and he began anymore. I started questioning everything. My friends noticed the change in me. They told me I wasn't the same person anymore. They told me I was quieter, less confident, less sure of myself. But I didn't listen. Or maybe I couldn't hear them. I was trapped in my own head, convinced that if I just tried harder, I could make things work. It wasn't until one day, when something so small happened, that everything started to click into place. I had an argument with him, nothing out of the ordinary. But this time, I didn't apologize immediately. I didn't back down. Instead, I stood my ground. I didn't let him manipulate me into feeling guilty. And in that moment, something inside me shifted, for the first time in years. I stopped questioning myself. I stopped apologizing for things I didn't do. I stopped letting him control the narrative. And that's when I started to see the truth. I started researching. I started talking to people who had been through similar experiences. I learned about gaslighting, about how it works, and how it affects your mind. The more I read, the more I realized that I wasn't crazy. I wasn't imagining things. I had been manipulated for years, but knowing the truth was only the first step. The real challenge was accepting it. It hurt to admit that I had been living in a toxic relationship for so long. It hurt to realize how much I had allowed myself to be controlled. But I also knew that I couldn't keep living like this. I couldn't keep letting him take away my sense of self. I started setting boundaries. I started taking back control of my life, one small step at a time. It wasn't easy. There were days when I still doubted myself, when I still heard his voice in my head telling me I was wrong. But I kept going. I kept reminding myself that I deserved better. Eventually, I made the decision to leave. Leaving wasn't easy, but it was the best thing I could have done for myself. I found strength I didn't know I had. I found my voice again. Looking back, I realize how far I've come. I've learned to trust myself again. I've learned to listen to my intuition and to stand up for myself. I've learned that my feelings are valid, my thoughts are worth listening to, and I deserve a love that uplifts me, not one that tears me down. If you're in a similar situation, I want you to know that you're not alone. Gaslighting is insidious, but it's not your fault. It's not your job to fix someone else. You deserve to be in a relationship where you're treated with respect. Where you can be yourself without fear of being manipulated or controlled. It's hard to see the truth when you're deep in it. It's hard to trust yourself when you've been made to doubt everything you know. But once you see it, once you find the courage to face the truth, you'll realize that you're stronger than you think. You have the power to take back your life, to heal, and to create a future that's full of love, respect, and happiness. Trust yourself, and remember that you deserve to be loved for who you truly are. No one should ever make you feel less than that.